Hello and welcome to Lights, Camera and Cricket. The big story at the moment is the team that has been picked for the T20 World Cup. The 15 men that will travel to the US and the West Indies playing for India at the all-important tournament. And to break down that entire squad and to analyze it, we're joined by former India captain and an expert here at India Today in Sunny Gavaskar. Sunny bhai, thank you so much for speaking to India Today. First things first, and I'm going to break the squad down into individual. I was just looking at social media. The number one trend happens to be a certain Rinku Singh. He's not made it to the 15-member squad that has been picked. Your first reaction on the big surprise, which at the moment seems to be Rinku?
Well, I mean, because maybe his form in this particular edition of the IPL hasn't been great. He hasn't had that many opportunities. Maybe that's the reason why they have not picked him. I don't know the reason, but this Indian team looks a very, very good team, no question about it. It's got plenty of, experience. They've got some real big hitters. They've got a variety in their bowling as well. Looks a very, very good team, this Indian team.
It is looking like a good team. It is the team that many expected. Saiba, is this the kind of team that you were expecting while you were watching the IPL as well? Because everyone had an eye on how the Indian team is going to look like. Are there any big surprises for you thought could be there, or somebody that's really come in you thought may not be able to make the cut?
Yeah, I think maybe there was one player who could have made it, but who didn't make it. But that's in my book. But that's okay. That's not a huge thing because all the players in this squad are capable of doing well and bringing the cup back home.
The one thing, Saiba, that we notice in this team is that they've got 4 spinners in the squad. Now, that's a luxury sometimes the Indian team does not have. You've got an Akshar, you've got a Jadeja, a Yuzi Chahal, a Kuldeep Yadav, and only 3 fast bowlers overall. A lot of times, those 3 fast bowlers would be playing in the 11. Are you a bit surprised with the extra spinner they've gone with, or it is based on condition? What do you reckon?
Well, there's Hardik Pandya to bowl as well as the 4th seam bowler. So maybe that's the reason why they've gone with 4 spin bowlers. The pitches in the West Indies, where they're going to play their matches, there'll be a little more help for the spinners than for the quick bowlers, and that's one of the reasons why they've gone. Also, what we have seen in the IPL currently, the ball comes onto the bat quite nicely. It goes also out of the park quite nicely. So clearly, I think the slower the delivery, the harder it is for the batters to hit, and that's perhaps the reason why they've gone with the extra spinner.
The biggest debate, Saibai, was over who is going to be the wicket-keeper batter for India. They've gone in with 2, and they were spoiled for choices, let's be honest. The 2 that they've selected, apart from that, there was a KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, there was a Jitesh, who was the incumbent, actually. The last time India was playing a T20I, it was Jitesh Sharma, the first choice wicket-keeper batter. Then there was a Dhruv Jurel as well. Are you happy with the 2 that have been picked, and what do you think could be the reasons that those 2 are the ones that have made the cut?
Very happy, very happy. Firstly, for Rishabh Pant coming back to the Indian cricket team. It is something that not just the Indian cricket fans, but I think the cricket fans all over the world have been waiting for, to see this man, because he's a crowd puller. He brings in the crowds. He's the one who's taken the game to another level, and he's batting well. He's keeping extraordinarily well. So it's good to see him. And then Sanju Samson, another man who's been really letting his bat do the talking. So both these batter keepers in the team, that's a very good thing for Indian cricket.
You mentioned, Saibai, earlier that there was a player that you would have liked, probably could have made the cut, but that's okay. Who would that be?
I was thinking more like T. Natarajan, the left-hand pace bowler, because he's been bowling exceedingly well. So I thought that maybe he could have been in the team, but that's okay. I think the seam bowlers that they've got, they've all got the experience. So really, no issues with that.
The other one that has raised a few eyebrows, is Shubman Gill not making it, because remember, he's a captain of an IPL team at the moment. He's an all-format player, has struck form. We saw in the Test series, was the highest run getter last time around the IPL. You reckon because there are too many contenders for that opening slot, maybe that's the reason he's missed out? Maybe if he was part of any other country, more often than not, a Shubman Gill would have made the cut?
Yes, that is the blessing that India has, that they've got so many players. In fact, if you make a second team, that team will also be capable of lifting this cup with a bit of luck going its way. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to leave a good player out, and that's what seems to have happened with Shubman. Again, perhaps the form in the last few matches has been patchy. He started the IPL very well, but the last few matches have been patchy, and which has cost Gujarat Titans victories, because when Shubman Gill scores, Gujarat Titans have been winning. When he has not been scoring, they have not been winning. And maybe again, the current form is what went against him.
So if I was to play the devil's advocate, one school of thought suggests that you needed a fresh approach in T20 cricket. Now I was just trying to compare this team to the last two T20 World Cups, and India haven't had a great time in both those T20 World Cups. 2021 they were knocked out first round. 2022 they lost in a one-sided encounter to England in the semi-final. It's pretty much the same team that has been picked now as far as the 15 is concerned. I think a Shivam Dube, a Yashasvi Jaiswal, and to an extent a Kuldeep Yadav, I think, are the only new names as such. Overall, because you mentioned it's a good team, overall, do you think that this team is capable of challenging the best in the world, considering it's a similar team that has gone for two previous World Cups and not done best?
Well, but there have been, changes in attitude, changes in approach, which we saw in the World Cup, the 50 overs World Cup as well, and so that augurs well for the T20 World Cup as well. I'm very confident that this team is capable of bringing the cup home, because this team has got, like I said, great batting lineup, great middle order batting, great finishers, and also terrific variety in the bowling. So I'm very, very, very optimistic about this team.
Okay, Saim, I'm going to do an exercise with you. Now that the 15 is announced, if Sunny Gavaskar was to make his 11 for the first game, now we've seen the form that they've displayed, the kind of combination that the Indian team could go with. How is your 11 looking like? What we'll do is we'll try and break it up. Let's start with the openers. Who would be your two openers, come the first match that India has to play against Ireland?
I would have left hand, right hand combination that open in the test matches. Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, I would have them to open the batting. Kohli at 3, I would have Surya Kumar Yadav at 4. Rishabh Pant 5, Hardik Pandya 6, Ravindra Jadeja 7. 8 I will keep open at the moment. 9 would be Jasprit Bumrah. 10 would be Arshdeep Singh. And 11 again, depending on who we are playing, depending on where we are playing, I would either go in for a spinner or a pacer. And that middle name that I left behind after 8 would be Kuldeep Yadav.
Okay, so that's the 11 that Mr. Gavaskar would go with. Overall, Saibai, one very crucial cog in the wheel for the Indian team, and you've put him in your 11 as well, and you're happy that he's there, is going to be Hardik Pandya, because he brings a different dimension. The only fast bowling all-rounder as such that we have with the Indian team. While his batting, some good innings in this IPL, some not so good innings, it's his bowling that has raised a few concerns. Would you be worried about that going in the World Cup, or do you think conditions there are different, and maybe you may not need him to bowl 4 overs? How do you see Hardik Pandya, the bowler, contributing in the World Cup?
Look, I think, there's a big difference between playing the IPL and playing for your country. Playing for your country just brings out something different in every player. And Hardik Pandya will be a different player. He's had to face a lot of issues in this particular tournament. He's handled it quite well. So when he goes goes overseas and has to play for India, I think he'll be in a completely different frame of mind, and that's going to be a much more positive frame of mind than maybe what we've seen over here in this tournament. So Hardik Pandya will make a contribution with both bat and ball in this tournament, in the World Cup.
All right, so Sunny Gavaskar, summing up that entire team for us. And Sunny, thank you so much for taking our time. But before I let you go, one final question. Now that we've seen, and during the IPL, we've seen a few overseas batters perform, some overseas bowlers perform. And I was taking a look at some other squads. Most of them have made it to their 15, whether it is, the South African team, the English team. We've seen the New Zealand team as well. Overall, now that you see the composition of this Indian team, do you reckon they are a top 4 contender? They are a title contender? How is the entire unit looking like to you?
They are a title contender. Without a question, they are a title contender. Look, at the international level, sometimes you need a bit of luck. And if this Indian team has just a little bit of luck, then I'm very confident that after 2007, the T20 World Cup will come back to India.
Should we be worried about the fact that, IPL and the T20 World Cup, not too much of a gap? Or do you think, no, it works the other way? They'll all go in with some good form, with some T20 cricket behind them.
They'll go with good rhythm. Just about everybody will go with good rhythm. The bowlers will have bowled a fair number of overs. I know it's only 4 overs in a T20 format, but they'll have got some bowling under their belt. The batters will have had enough time out in the middle. Some of them will have scored 80s, 90s, 100s. So clearly, this team will go with that little break. They'll get a week break. They play, and with that week break before they go to America, I think they will be a little bit refreshed as well, but at the same time not rusty. It's very important that teams don't go there rusty. They will be absolutely well oiled, and then having had a little service break in between the IPL and the first match.
All right, Sunny Gavaskar, thank you so much for taking our time speaking to us on India today and giving us your perspective, one, on the entire squad, giving us your 11 as well. And why do I have a feeling it's going to be pretty much that same 11 when India take on Ireland in their first game at the T20 World Cup. But thank you so much for speaking to us on India today. And let's now sum up the squad for you, the 15 that the Indian selectors have gone with. Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. You have the usual suspects. You've got Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dube in there. You've gone in with 4 spinners as well this time around, and that is something that is going away from the norm. Usually you see 3 or 4. That's what they've gone with. The 2 wicket-keeper batter were the crucial spots, and those 2 have been grabbed by a Sanju Samson and a Rishabh Pant. Spinners, as I spoke about, Kuldeep. You've got a Yuzi Chahal, Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja, and your fast bowlers are Arshdeep Singh, Mohammad Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah. That's how the Indian squad at the moment is looking like. I'm afraid that's all the time that we have on this special edition